All right, let's get right into it. For most of the 20th century, the fashion world had a very simple rule. Paris decided what was in, and everybody else just followed orders. But then, in a few short decades, that entire system it shattered. The magic and mystery of the runway were replaced by the cold, hard machine of marketing. In this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly how that seismic shift happened and who really ended up with all the power.
So this is the big question, right? What on earth happened to fashion? How does an industry built on the absolute, unquestioned genius of the designer suddenly lose its authority so completely? Well, here's the thing. The power didn't just disappear into thin air. Nope, it just moved. It shifted into new hands, creating the world of style we're all living in right now.
It's kind of wild, but Shakespeare, writing centuries ago, completely nailed the engine of the old fashion system. It was never about your clothes actually getting old and worn out. It was about making your style feel old and worn out. It was this constant manufactured churn, this need for the new that kept the whole industry's wheels spin.
Okay, so before we can get to the revolution, we have to understand the old regime. And for decades, Paris wasn't just a fashion capital, it was the fashion capital, period. The entire world looked to its exclusive, almost sacred couture houses to find out what they were supposed to wear next.
And the whole game, the entire system, was built on this one incredibly powerful idea: planned obsolescence. Think about it. A designer in Paris would decide to lower a skirt hem or change the shape of a lapel, and boom, just like that, your whole wardrobe felt dated, almost embarrassing. It was this powerful command that kept millions of people buying new clothes, season after season, in perfect lockstep. This one little story just says it all. Christian Dior literally bolts from backstage to snatch a notebook from some woman who was sketching his designs. See, this wasn't just about creativity. It was about control. It was about secrecy. The designs were guarded like state secrets because a copy was a threat to their entire power structure. And on the other side, you had American buyers who'd see a show and then literally sprint to a nearby cafe to try and sketch everything from memory. It was basically a constant low-grade war over information.
So here's how the world was split. On one side, you had French couture, super exclusive, everything made by hand, and they were the ones calling all the shots. On the other side was the American mass market, industrial, affordable, and its main job was to copy what Paris just did, but faster and cheaper. It was a crystal clear, top-down system, and for a really long time, it looked absolutely unbreakable.
But, as we all know, no empire lasts forever. And this system, this seemingly perfect fortress of fashion, began to develop some serious cracks. It started crumbling, not just from the outside, but from within.
Get this number in your head, 800. By the late 1980s, that's how many licenses the designer Pierre Cardin had sold. His name wasn't just on fancy dresses anymore. No, it was on frying pans, alarm clocks, cars, even bidets. Yeah, if that wasn't a giant red flag that something was going seriously wrong, I don't know what was.
And here's the man himself, basically admitting it. This whole licensing thing became what people in the business called the opiate of fashion. It was a quick, easy high, a fast way to make a ton of cash. But it came at a huge cost. It completely diluted the prestige that these brands were built on. Really, when your name is on everything from a tuxedo to a frying pan, what does it even mean anymore?
So it wasn't just one thing that brought the system down. It was a total perfect storm. You had this cultural youthquake in the 60s, where trends like the miniskirt started bubbling up from the street, not trickling down from a salon. Then, the designers themselves started to get it wrong, losing millions on big trends that totally flopped. Their own partners, the licensees, started ignoring them to save their own skin. Meanwhile, Italy was rising as a slick new competitor. And the final blow? Retailers in America just looked at the French designs and said, "This is too expensive, and our customers don't even want it."
So with the old kings of couture totally stumbling, a new power rose up to take the throne. And this new ruler wasn't a famous designer or a legendary fashion house. Nope, it was just the average person. The consumer was now king.
And this timeline shows the quiet but totally unstoppable revolution. It kind of started with the tech guys, people like Bill Gates, proving you could be a genius billionaire without ever wearing a tie. Then, Casual Friday started, and before you knew it, it was just casual every day, even at super stuffy places like IBM. Heck, by 2000, even Wall Street had given in. Real-world comfort was officially beating designer fantasy. And if you want to see just how much money was behind this shift, look at this. Dockers. In less than 5 years, it went from being nothing to a $1 billion a year business. That wasn't because of a runway show or a fashion magazine. That was pure, raw consumer demand.
This number is it's staggering. In 1998 alone, The Gap, the absolute master of basics, did $8.3 billion in sales. That was a year where they were opening a new store on average every single day. The customer had voted with their wallet, and the vote was for casual.
And this quote, wow, this is the ultimate mic drop. In a 1994 survey, 70% of women, when asked who they wanted to dress like, said no one. Their goal? I just want to maximize me. The era of blindly following a designer's every command was officially dead and buried.
Okay, so if the designers weren't the dictators anymore, how did the new fashion giants build their empires? Well, they threw out the old rule book and wrote a completely new one. And in this new playbook, marketing wasn't just a part of the strategy, it was the strategy.
So here it is, the new 4-step plan to fashion domination. Step 1, sell a fantasy, not just clothes. Think Ralph Lauren. He wasn't selling you a polo shirt, he was selling you a ticket to an aspirational American country club life. Step 2, master pop culture. Tommy Hilfiger saw the power of rap and hip-hop and jumped right in. Step 3, own Hollywood. Giorgio Armani basically turned the Oscars red carpet into his personal runway. And the final step, win on Wall Street. Getting that big IPO became the new ultimate prize.
When you put it all side by side like this, you can see the whole world was turned upside down. The designer sketch used to be law, now it was the marketing campaign. The power of fashion editors was replaced by pop culture and what real people were wearing on the street. And the ultimate proof you'd made it? It wasn't your list of exclusive clients anymore. It was ringing that opening bell on Wall Street.
So in the end, this end of fashion was never actually about the end of clothes. Of course not. It was the end of dictation. The power wasn't destroyed. It was handed over. It was seized by regular people and the savvy marketers who finally learned how to listen to them.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question for right now. The Parisian couturier might not be the dictator anymore, but have we just traded one master for another? In today's world of massive global brands, social media influencers, and ads that seem to know what you want before you do, who or what is really in charge of your style now? Something to think about.